What is going on, everybody? It's MrAeroHD and back again here with another video based on the drift update. So thank you for joining me. I want to thank you guys on the crazy response on that last video. Holy crap. There's like almost 10,000 views on that now. I thought it was unfair, and I was getting a lot of questions in the comments based on tuning and what you know, this, that, whatever. So I want to go through the quick questions that I've been getting asked. Technically, this is not my design, first of all. I used a bunch of stuff I found on the storefront and then just kind of put the colors together and then moved everything around. So I made it, but I didn't paint any of the logos or decals. I kind of just slapped everything together. 2, yes, it was my tune, and I didn't share it because I wanted to come back with this video. Maybe you'll already see that there's more camber in the front. I really wanted to see what I could do to get the tune feeling better and feeling smoother. Because in the video, I actually complained that, oh, you know, there's not a lot of smoothness and like it's very twitchy. So I kind of stumbled upon I don't think it's as smooth as I can get it, but it's as smooth as I can get it within like 2 days of a lot of trial and error and trying different things and whatever. So I'm going to share that with you guys now, and I will continue to update you anytime I discover anything that I really like. We're going to do the open space section, which was the second one that I did in that video. If you haven't watched that video, it's pretty important to this one, so go watch that one first. So I'm going to show you what the build of the car is. We'll go over everything together because we didn't do that in the last video, but we'll do it in this one. So this is a S13, of course it's rear-wheel drive on sport tires. I don't really do race tires. I don't do all-wheel drive. It's a stock engine, so it's the SR. I got the Rocket Bunny kit on it with the rear wing. No carbon hood because I just don't like the look of it. TC 105 ends. They're in the sport rim style, and then I have the tires to 18 inches just because I think it looks a bit more hot boy. It's not really for anything other than looks. So I'm running 265s in the back and then 225s in the front. So I run a little bit of narrower front tire. That's just a lot of things I picked up from my friends' tunes. So my buddy Minty and then my buddy Ueno helped me out with my setups. So I took my setup and things that they both liked and kind of made this weird amalgamation of the 3 of our tuning styles. You know, so Ueno ran a really narrow front tire before the drift update. So I tried running a wider front tire with it and then a narrow front tire with it. And I still prefer the feeling of a narrower front tire. So I left it at that. We're on sport tires, of course. You can run street tires, I guess. I'm just more comfortable in sport tires because that's what we use in competition. All race drivetrain, all race platform and handling, and I believe almost all race parts on the engine. Yeah, so I only have, I think the intercooler is the only thing that I have stock. We'll go into the tune. So I'll tell you guys what I normally do. So I raised the front tire pressure. Ueno suggested to go 40, and I was like, that's a little crazy. So I'm for 34.5 compared to like maybe 28. Gearing is roughly the same. I think I tightened the gear ratio a little bit just because the SR has a lot of turbo lag. And this is where you'll see the most differences in the alignment. At least in my opinion. We used to run -3 or 1.5. I'm running 3.7 now. A lot more front camber just to help deal with that steering angle. You'll see I'm still at 60 degrees of steering angle. A lot of guys on controller, I am on controller, by the way. If you're on the wheel, this might not apply to you. A lot of the guys on controller were like, oh, I'll try like 50. I'm like, nah. They gave us 60 degrees. I want to run 60 degrees. I'm sure running 50 makes it feel way better, but I wanted to see if I can get it to run smoothly on 60 degrees. So that's what we're doing. A little bit more rear toe. I was running like -1, so I'm running -0.3 instead. Caster is the biggest change. So caster, when you didn't have steering angle, I always wanted to run really high, in between 6 and 7. It almost kind of gave your car more steering lock, even though it didn't. Now, though, because we have 60 degrees of steering lock, I'm running it very low, just because the higher the caster, I felt the more responsive the front end, and it was at the point where it was too responsive and just making it look really twitchy. I'm still experimenting with this. You know, I've tried other cars at caster levels around 2.5, 3 have felt the best. Some cars, especially heavier ones, 4 and 5. This S13 is a little light, so I'm 2,500 pounds. Running it at 1 has been the most comfortable for me so far. Anti-roll bars are pretty well the same. I was running about 20 and 10 before, but I'm 24 and 11 now. So a little bit stiffer front end. Again, that kind of makes sense just to try to like wash away that twitchiness. Softer everything when it comes to springs, I believe. Again, pretty well the same ratio. I was running like mid 600s. And then just soften the rear end from like 520 to like 447. This I'm still working on. I'm still not sure about this. Ride height, again, I think is basically the same. I think I raised the front and the rear by 0.1 of an inch. So there's still the same gap. Dampening, again, there's a big change. I was running like 7.2 or 7.3 and 7. I'm running 10 and 8.5. This is directly a suggestion of Bueno. I'm not really sure how I like it yet. I'm still changing, messing around. If you guys watch me on Twitch, I actually was messing around driving this car, tuning it for like an hour and a half. Before I was like, yeah, this is smooth. There's still, you'll see when I run the car. It's not perfect, but it's way, way, way better. And I really want to get this information out as soon as I can. I'm just trying to be clear, like this isn't like a video that most people make when they have tuning videos and like, this is gonna fix everything. Like, this helped a lot for me, but I definitely don't think this is the fix. Like, it's not, I'm like, oh my god, we're so smooth, it's the exact same as it was before. I think for me, at least in my opinion, those days may be gone. There's gonna be a little bit of twitch unless you jump on the wheel or really fuck around with your dead zones. And again, I ran like 4.9, 3.2, I believe, was my bump stiffness. Now running 7 and 4.5. I think this is going to change, varying track to track. And again, I'm not really sure how I like this yet. I just have to adjust it a little bit more. Braking force, I've always had this the same. This is more of a personal preference. I like running a little bit of rear brake balance just because when I get on the brakes, the weight doesn't shift us forward as much. Sometimes I hit the brake a little bit on the trigger and I hit a little bit more than I wanted to. Weight shifts forward and I really just like over rotate. And then I lower the braking pressure a little bit more, actually. Lower the braking pressure just again to avoid that mistake. The diff is air quotes welded. Again, I'm still testing with this. I've heard from a lot of drivers that I really trust that like on this new update that running 100 has worked out best for them. I tried a 95-85 split, which is what I used to run, and it felt grippier but like wasn't as fun to drive. So I'm still running 100. Again, a lot of the stuff, at least for me, like some people can just throw tunes together and they're done. Me, I take like, especially when I'm learning, this is basically like learning a whole new game. So I'm sitting here trying to do my best to learn how to tune from scratch all over again, and I'm trying to pull all my resources. And again, if you guys know some sort of secret tuning thing that you think is really going to help, leave it in the comments. Normally I don't really listen to YouTube comments because 9 times out of 10 people don't know what they're talking about. Normally it's like use race tires, you fucking moron, you don't know what the fuck, idiot. So like, I'm trying to use what you guys suggest. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. At this point I'm willing to try anything because there's, you know, we'll never learn unless we are open to change. Anyway, let's get on the track. Parking lot thing. I'll show you guys what I feel is a way better setup. Now, before we start our run here, I just want to make it clear. I have to say this all the time because people don't listen. Tuning for drifting specifically, or especially, is so subjective and so based on what people like versus what people don't like. If you guys are watching a tuning guide, for example, where someone says, these are the best settings and this is correct and what everyone else says is wrong, 9 times out of 10, they have no fucking clue what they're talking about. So what I'm showing you guys here is a setup that I felt worked for me. It might feel terrible to you. It might feel excellent to you. It's really based on what you feel in the game and what you feel is comfortable for you. So if you try this setup and you feel like it's worse, you know, I just want to get it out of the way that I never claimed that this is going to be the be all end all fix. I just said it worked for me and it might not work for you. Forza is not one of those games where you could just, it's not like Need for Speed where you're like, oh dude, if you set your car up like this, it's going to be overpowered and the best. It's not how that works. Anyway, now that we have the disclaimer out of the way that no one's going to listen to, let's go. So we're back here at this section. I feel like this is the most even when it comes to corner types, and there's long corners and a really tight section. So if you watch that other video right now, I'd be very twitchy, especially since I'm at medium angle here. These angle kits can always pull more angle than I think so. I have a lot of seat time on this track now as well. This is where I've been practicing. Again, big angle entry, you don't really see it. Oh fuck. You don't really see it whipping back as hard as it used to. There's still twitch, like it's still there. But I feel like it's more comparable to how it was before the update, which is good. You got to be really careful when you're on full lock as well, because that's when it really starts to bite back. And I feel like your best weapons against twitchy driving are going to be throttle control and basically using your air quotes feet. Really modulate the car with the throttle and the brake. You want, you know, once you feel your car starting to lose angle, you'll get used to it the more you drive it. But once you really feel the car start to lose angle, you're like, well, I'm going to toss some throttle into it instead of maybe using the stick. You want to use the steering as little as possible to like modulate your angle, because that's how you're going to get these big twitches, especially when you're at full angle like that. I cut the corner. Whoopsies. Especially when you're at full angle. I feel like if you can help not steering, obviously you're going to need to steer at some point. But if you can help just, you know, maybe giving it some more throttle or maybe clutch kicking to get it back on angle instead of, you know, opposite counter. I don't even know what to call that. Just use the gas as much as you can instead of using the steering. And then again, same deal. Use the brake if you can. You know, drifting is all about weight transfer. It's not all about weight transfer, but it's very significant. Ooh, a little bit too much gas. It's very significant to know where your weight is, and anytime you hit the front, the brakes right there, toss some weight forward. Your e-brake's not going to get that. I actually don't really use the e-brake in this section at all unless I'm trying to kill speed. So like right here, you know, there's this big S, and then here I hit the e-brake just to drag my car out wide a little bit. I don't really use it to initiate drifts, and especially since the angle mod, I used to use the e-brake a lot just to keep the car from over-rotating in transitions. You don't even need to do that now. You can actually stay full throttle on transition if you really want to. But yeah, now that I've had a couple of more hours with this update, and I'm sure this video will be obsolete in like a week. Like we'll find some sort of big tuning breakthrough that'll make the car super smooth. I do run fuel and tires as well, so the rear just gets progressively less and less grip. You could run a wider tire on here. I'm just choosing not to, because it's more fun for me. You know, I'm sure 285 the car would handle 100 times better, but I'm having more fun with the 265. Probably not the best car to show off as an example, but especially when the car's on 0 tire wear, there's so much grip. And I really hope you guys can see the difference just in setup. And there's a lot of stuff taken from the base setup, like the high camber. I know some people are running -5. Oh, fuck me. I know some people are running like something crazy like -5. Basically, everyone in the community right now is just trying different things, but from what I've gathered from the community, as well as my own testing, and as well as my friends and fellow tuners that I trust, basically, you're going to want to run more camber than you're used to. Some stuff a bit stiffer, some stuff a bit softer. The suspension is all like new stuff, but like the basics that I found, if you want to just fuck around your suspension on your own time, is tone down your caster. Start at 5, then try 3, then try 1, and then if you don't like either one of those, try to find a good middle point. Run more camber. Again, start at 3.5, -3.5, obviously. Try running up to 4, try running 2.5, try to find a happy middle ground. And then the diff, if you don't run 100, I know I used to say all the time, if anyone who runs 100 diff does not know what the hell they're talking about, and I still stand by that on the old game, but again, this is basically a new game. I'm not 100% sold on that idea yet, but it definitely makes the car a bit smoother at high angle, in my opinion, at the moment. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Again, I have, in between streaming and playing this on my own time, like probably, I want to say almost 10-12 hours with the new update in actual in-car, in-play time. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Let me know if you have any suggestions to the setup that are obviously legal, so no positive camber in the front tires, no race tires, no fucking all-wheel drive, because that's all... But thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everyone who checked me out on Twitch. Really stoked to have that last video just do so well. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.